Yeah, closing remarks. So it's only Joe and me actually between you and the lunch. That's an unfortunate situation, but that's how it is always at the end. So, I mean, from my personal perspective, I found it as an extremely rich discussion today and also yesterday. Maybe even today, sometimes the second day is always a bit more difficult because you start out quite big and, then the second day there are maybe less people, but actually I think this time it was actually the opposite situation. So it was extremely rich, I think, in ideas, at the same time maybe also extremely humbling, because I think the challenges that we see in the region are huge. And if you are more of a, let's say, pessimist mindset, maybe a bit depressive, then, you see all kinds of bad things happening. I mean, we have seen, I think you just alluded to Israel as the new hegemon of the region. So basically we have a country that acts now without any constraints. Maybe the motto of the Trump administration is not so much to intervene on behalf of Israel, but maybe to send all the weapons and to make the Middle East safe for Israel. So I think there are no constraints at all anymore. Yesterday we have had the panel on Palestine, which I also found very rich in that sense. But I mean, also obviously, I would even be more pessimist in them, because I think that whole issue of ethnic cleansing, I think that's where Israel wants to go. I think that's probably what we have to face. Very difficult to say that as a German, but I think that's the end game in Gaza. That's probably also the end game in the West Bank. And if you think that the West is going to stop that, then I will tell you the West is not going to stop that. I think there will be nothing. I think the Arabs probably only ones that can stop that. Syria, we have seen there's maybe this almost impossible task to stabilize the country. And maybe already, I don't know, 2 or 3 months from now, we might face a new war in Iran or with Iran. So all of this is, it's very worrying. And I find it sometimes difficult to be optimist. Actually, we had a discussion also within the FES team, basically since October 7th last year, and I was always pessimistic actually, and I think some of the colleagues made fun of me that, but in the end, the war in Lebanon happened, and that doesn't mean that a regional war will happen, but I'm just saying that I think there are huge challenges. Maybe one, before I give it to you, maybe one thing that came up quite often was this embarrassing question: where is Europe? I think at several occasions that was actually something that people asked the question. Maybe from a German perspective, at least, there was some positive light at once. I think Zedun was actually saying that, thank you, that on the Syria file, the Germans are a bit of the avant-garde, engaging the new government. There are not many other Western governments that follow us in that. But I would say, this question, where is Europe, is maybe it's a bit of a mean question sometimes, because I think for us this new geopolitical reality that there is no rules-based order that we cherish so much, because maybe for us it worked actually. In Europe there was a rules-based order. Maybe in the Middle East there has never been this order. That we are ideologically not prepared for this new world. And you called it, I think yesterday in the debate with Hassan Salami, you called it a predator's world. And that means I think we do have power, but we are just not prepared to use this power, right? Because, I think we still, and I think the German elites especially, take in a way that, there is the old picking order, Washington calls the shots, and we are basically the little helpers running behind. And I think somebody now put it, I think 2 or 3 weeks into the Trump administration, that the Europeans are basically running around like headless chicken. And, we call them servants without master. So, we had our master, the master is now gone. We got kicked out of the house, those fat domestic house cats, and we now have to learn our way to behave in this new world. And I think this takes time. But I would still be optimistic in a way that I think we are learning it the hard way. And I think eventually, on these crises in the Middle East, and somebody said also on Syria, if Syria fails, obviously Europe is going to, bear the brunt of it, and not the United States. Those refugees are not going to come to the US, obviously, but they kind of come to Europe. So I would still say, look, when you look at the last 2 months, there has been a lot of developments also in Europe, in a direction that many of us didn't think it was possible. And I think eventually, maybe Europe will live up to, to the challenges. But it's maybe, I would say, it's a bit mean to always ask that embarrassing question, because this is not just not the world that we came from, and we have also now to learn it the hard way to live with this new world. Yeah, with that, maybe I hand over to you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcus. Actually, I was envisaging this more as a protocolar concluding session, but if I have to say a few words, let me say that I usually I like conferences like these when I leave them with more questions than answers, or at least as many questions as answers. And I think that this time we had this pleasure. Let me start with the first one, with the first known unknown, to paraphrase Donald Rumsfeld a few decades ago, the US one. Usually students and practitioners and experts of the Middle East or of Middle East politics usually say, okay, we know what's the US policy, but the unknown is in the region. I think that now, today, the unknown is in Washington. So we still don't know what to expect from Washington in the years to come, not only in terms of Middle Eastern politics, but at all levels. So this is one lesson or one question with which I leave this conference. The second one is, of course, this sort of balance, and our debate now was an example, and the debate on Syria was an example. This balance between challenges, risks, and opportunities in Syria and Lebanon. We have something that has changed. It was a painful change, okay? It's a change induced by a war, lots of death, lots of blood, lots of destruction, but it has opened something. I think the Syria panel showed us that this opening is extremely accompanied by risks, and our panel here showed us that the Lebanese opening could, first of all, not last very much, and also was extremely constrained. The last unknown is, of course, what we are all expecting now in the months to come, which is the standoff with Iran. Are we heading towards a deal or a clash? I won't be longer than that on the substance. I just wanted to close on, if you allow me, on a few thanks. First of all, a thanks to you, Marcus, and the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung for the third year of partnership in these Beirut security debates. You are a trusted partner. You have been generous also, and you allowed us, I think, to reach a sort of now level that is becoming promising for this format. So thank you for the work together. I would like, and excuse me if I'm selfish, but I would like to thank my own team, the IFI team, and IFI also, because we have hosted this conference, and I would like to really name certain people without which this could not have been done. The first of them is, I think, the unknown soldier, Yahya Tashjian. Where is Yahya? Who I think haven't slept for maybe 2 months now. Until this morning, he was still receiving mails of apologies, defections. May I attend? May I change the panel? May I eat vegetarian and not? Okay. So he did everything from the conception of the program to the smallest details. So really, thank you, Yahya. This was tremendous. I have to thank also the amazing communication teams that is headed by Marina Shamma, who did also a fantastic work and still does a fantastic work until now, because she is recording certain video clips and etc. and with her team. So Firas and Amal, thank you so much. Of course, I thank our financial officer, Dania Abbas, and I can't thank enough my very esteemed and very valuable right hand, Yara Mrad, who is the assistant director of IFI, who also took a very heavy lifting in all this. Of course, maybe I forgot certain people, but all IFI is thanked, and I really I'm lucky to be the director of this institution. Thank you very much for your attendance, and thank you for your loyalty from year to year. We expect to have more people next year, of course. And now I invite you all to lunch. Thank you for those who came also from far, from abroad, even from Syria, or they took the ordeal of making the road. And thank you all for your attendance. Thank you, Excellencies, for your friendship and also for your interest. So I invite you all to lunch, and then have a good day. Thank you.